Hi.
Oh, there she
Hi,
is.
welcome
Hi, Joy.
aboard.
Oh, thank you.
So we've been praying for your dad. It sounds like he's doing better.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's actually a grandfather.
Oh, it's okay. So good. Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, you said father-in-law, and I didn't even correct you, but it's grandfather-in-law.
Okay, grandfather-in-law. Okay, I'll try to remember that. So Jennifer, how are you feeling?
Oh, good.
Now, do you go by Jennifer?
I go by Jen or Jennifer. Either one. Both people call me both.
Okay, well, you must be getting close to your due date.
Yeah. There were 38 weeks right now, and the other ones both came during this week, so who knows when he'll come.
Okay, well, now I see Robin and Marjorie. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're here now.
Good. Okay, and Ryan is on. So,
Hello.
Ryan, the other 509 is Jennifer. You probably heard me asking how the grandfather-in-law was doing as well as how she's doing with the baby.
Yes. Hi, Jennifer. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Glad you're coming along with us.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good. Good. Well, it's going to be a great adventure, and I'm glad that you and Thomas get to sharing it together.
Me too. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we'll have lots of extra hands for the baby too.
A lot of grandmas and grandpas.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So that's good. And the buses are air conditioned, so that's nice too.
Now, that's what he said. He didn't tell you that we have to put quarters in all the way. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know what's a shekel, a few
That's
shekels.
what I was just thinking, yeah.
A shekel is supposed to be 30 cents right now, I think.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay.
No.
Well, good. Well, we'll give a few minutes for a few other folks to check in. I figured we would try a Sunday afternoon and then a Monday, Zoom meeting, and just see if we can hit a little broader audience with people's work schedule. I know the PESM students are in class tomorrow till, I think Karen said you guys have chapel till 12:15. So
Yes, we do.
So we might delay the Zoom meeting 15 minutes or so. It's I use the free version of Zoom, so I only have 40 minutes anyways. So which I kind of like because then it keeps the meeting short.
Yep.
So Robin and Margie, are you ready for class? Does that start tonight?
Yep. Homework's all turned in. We're ready.
Nice. Good. Good.
We're packed and ready to shove off.
Okay.
Thomas, you're still in Yakima yet, I think.
I'm traveling right now.
Okay. My wife heard you more clearly than I did. So, of course, you have hands free, right?
Yes.
That's good because Oregon now has this new law that starts with $1,000 fine.
Oh, wow. I probably should stop texting and driving.
It could be that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to be at PESM tomorrow, so we will all gather around various computers or just one computer and look on.
Okay, good. Well, and we're thinking, Bill and I are thinking of a possibility in March when PESM is in session again. I know you all have some dinners for seniors and things like that, but we may try and find one of those evenings to invite anybody on the team to a meal or just a little get-together, face-to-face get-together for those that are in the Portland area. Jennifer, I know that would be hard for you, obviously, but we could always zoom in anybody that can't be there in person. But, these are just good forums for us to get to know each other a little bit better. And I'm so glad that there's so many couples that are going along. And then, there's folks from school and church that will be able to go back into their context and minister and share the experience with others. But it'll also be fun as a group, to have this experience together. So why don't we get started? And I wanted to do a couple different things over these next few Zoom meetings. One of the things I'd like to do is teach you just a few Hebrew words or phrases so that when we go there, you can try them out on people. Now, the ironic thing about speaking Hebrew in Israel is everybody will speak English. So it's not necessarily like going to Mexico or another foreign country where the dominant language will not be English, but it's still fun, and I think it's an enjoyable exercise, and it communicates to the nationals and locals that you're interacting with that you care about their culture. There, Dr. Bill has a nice little book there. So if you like languages, you can certainly learn more than what I'm going to teach you and what I know. So I figured we'd just start with something really simple. It's a word you probably already know. And the word is shalom. So can you say shalom with me?
Shalom.
Shalom.
Hello.
So shalom is a greeting, both when you say hello and goodbye, kind of like aloha in Hawaiian Polynesian language. And it means peace. And it means there's this sense of wholeness and this sense of fullness. Good health, blessing. It all kind of gets wrapped up in this one word. It's a very biblical word. So it's kind of cool that it has been the greeting. So when Jesus shows up after his resurrection in John 20:21 or 22, and he says, "Peace be with you," he's Shalom Aleichem. Hey, everybody, what's up? So don't be afraid. So this is a greeting. When you say hello to people on the street, you can say Shalom. So we'll kind of learn a Hebrew phrase each time we get together. Would you like to learn one more? You did pretty well with shalom.
Yeah.
Want to learn one more? So if you need to get somebody's attention, I mean, you could just scream, "Hey, you," and they'd probably look. But in Hebrew, we say shlicha. Can you try that? Shlicha.
Look. Okay.
Shlicha.
Yeah.
So the first is shli, S-L-I, shli.
Shli.
And then cha.
Ha.
Shlicha. Shlicha. Yep. There you go. So that's S-L-I-C-H-A is how you transliterate that. So shlicha, and it's that nice guttural, if you're not at least producing a little bit of phlegm, you're not doing it right.
Remember you.
So those are two little Hebrew words, greetings there that we can use on one another and on folks when we're there. I posted in the Facebook page, and I just created that because I thought one more place where we can connect or ask questions or share information. I posted a picture, and the picture was a picture of a place we're going to see. And I asked the question, do you know where this is? And I referenced Mark 3:1-6. So I'd like to read that if I could real fast. In Mark 3, it says, "Another time Jesus went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Some of them were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand, 'Stand up in front of everyone.' Then Jesus asked them, 'Which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill?' But they remained silent. He looked around at them in anger and, deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, said to the man, 'Stretch out your hand.' He stretched it out, and his hand was completely restored. Then the Pharisees went out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus." So the picture, and I posted another one on the side of our chat here, is a picture of the synagogue in Capernaum. And they've excavated it and they've discovered it, and you will see it when we go to Capernaum. So when we go to the Galilee, it's quite a lot to take in all in 1 or 2 days. But one of the main sites we'll see is the city of Capernaum, where Jesus made kind of his home base. It's on the northern part of the Sea of Galilee, and the picture, the synagogue that we have, is actually the 4th century synagogue, but below it is a black basalt synagogue that would have been the 1st century synagogue. So in the third and 4th century, after the the diaspora, after the Jews are dispersed they began importing the white stone from the Jerusalem mountains into the Galilean region. And that's that white marble stone. You'll see it in Israel. You'll see it in Jerusalem. But before that, the black basalt was there in the Galilee, and that's what was used because transportation was easier, 300 or 400 years before. So the city itself has a lot of the black basalt, and that's the first century Jewish excavations of Capernaum. But the synagogue that's standing is actually the 4th century synagogue. So it's not exactly the synagogue that Jesus was in, but you're literally standing right on top of the synagogue. What was interesting, Dr. Bill, and the last time we were there, our guide was sharing his perspective that this idea of synagogues was not really well developed in Jesus's time, that it was just simply home churches or home gatherings, and that this whole idea of Jesus teaching in synagogues was really just more of a 3rd or 4th century idea that was superimposed back on the text. What he didn't know and what hadn't been discovered yet was another place we'll go in Galilee called Magdala. And Magdala is where Mary Magdalene is from. And just in the last 2 years or so, 2 or 3 years, they've discovered a 1st century Jewish synagogue. So it confirms that this idea of synagogue and a place of worship, a centralized location in a city, was already prevalent during Jesus's ministry and during the time that he was in the Galilee. So, so just some really cool stuff. Capernaum's a wonderful town. It's the most thoroughly excavated area you'll see in the Galilee. But we'll also see some other things. There's some traditional sites where we don't necessarily know if it's the exact spot where Jesus multiplied the loaves and the fishes, or where he had breakfast with his disciples after he was resurrected. But it's places that have been venerated as the spot for centuries. And so I don't know, Dr. Bill, if you want to share it all about just what the Sea of Galilee is like and what being there is like, just as an experience. Again, I don't want to preload too much of people's what they're going to see and feel, but it's a neat place. Unmute yourself first.
Don't I? There we go. Now I'm unmuted. Where we're staying in Tiberias, you'll be able to go down to the lake as well, even when we're not on tour. But doing the boat last time, even though it was a little cool and windy, was still a great experience. And thanks to Ryan's preparation to do this on what they call the shoulders of the tour season, May should be a really nice time on the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we're hoping in Tiberias too, depending on how extensive or how tired, I guess I should say, we are, we'll go to one of the Messianic services that's in Tiberias. At least that's a tentative plan. So,
yeah, great. Yeah, I was surprised the first time I was there. I really expected the Galilee to be more commercialized, more touristy, and it doesn't have that feel. It feels pristine. The sites that are in Galilee are cared for by the Franciscan monks and nuns, and beautiful gardens. Will go up on the mountain where probably Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount, and there's a beautiful church building there. We'll also get to go to a place called Ginosaur, Ginosaur. And if you have some time to do some research on that, it's a pretty neat thing. Back in the 1980s, there was a big drought, and so the Sea of Galilee, the water level was very low. And they discovered a first century fishing boat that they've nicknamed the Jesus boat. And so they were able to preserve it, and we'll see it on display. And actually, that's one of the best shops on our tour. So we'll let you know where the good shops are. But that's one of the best shops there. But you'll get to see this first century boat, and they use 12 different types of wood for the 12 tribes of Israel. and it's very tiny, So it's just a neat experience. So prep yourself a little bit in Galilee when we're there for a lot of stuff in a short period of time. Some of the sites we'll see, we'll be driving an hour or two to get there. We'll get out, we'll see the site, and then we'll be driving an hour to the next site. Galilee is just one after the other, and it's so cool to me to think about the God of the universe acting in such specific ways in such a small area. But we'll have a chance to go to Bethsaida, where Peter and James and John are from. We'll have a chance to do some other things around the Sea of Galilee, but it should be a wonderful part of our tour. I'm going to put 2 maps over here on the section, the message section, and my encouragement to you all. So one of the things we'd like to do each time we get together from now till our trip is just give you some travel tips. And the travel tip this time that I would give you is to study the maps. I've put a couple maps here, just photos of maps. But if you have a Bible concordance or you have some maps in your Bible, the more understanding you have of kind of the geography, the better you'll be able to kind of locate yourself. Because it can be overwhelming when you're there and there's so much to see and it's easy to get turned around. Now, which way is north and which way is south? We'll have a map for you while we're there as well. But as you prepare, if you have time, to take out the maps and just study them a little bit. So there's a map of Galilee there, and we'll spend most of our time in the northwestern section of Galilee, which is kind of where the hub of Jesus' ministry was there. And then just a map of Israel during the first century. So, Dr. Bill, I don't know if you have any recommendations just as far as learning the geography maps. Obviously, with the students, we've done some work there, but just advice or resources that you have for them on looking for maps.
Any of the historical atlases, and there are several actually in the library at PESM that you can check out. So and there are some really inexpensive paper guides to supplement. I don't know what kind of Bible you're planning to bring, but a lot of the smaller Bibles don't have atlases in them. So you may want to copy some pictures down, although I think Tolly plans to have a map picture for us. And as Ryan was talking, if you had opened that 12-day footstep tour, you can see, for instance, May 11th on Friday, we're in Nazareth, and then we go to see the ancient boat and the boat ride, and then have the fish dinner. So that's going to be a very full day, but should be a great day. And then that will be our first night staying in Tel Aviv. And then you can see how it ticks off after that. So it's going to be a great time for us. Those last 3 or 4 days will be really packed, but they will be good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And wanted to remind you of his question that came up last time about the kind of plug, because Israel traditionally has a 3-prong plug. It's not quite the British adapter, but anyway, a regular European plug will work, which is just the 2-prong guys. So if you have a European plug adapter, you'll be fine. And they make these universal adapters now too. I'll try to remember to throw one in to show you what they look like when I'm at PESM.
We have one up here.
I think.
Is yours a big square guy?
There's 2 of them, or a couple of them. There's this guy in here.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's we'll take 220. That's what the voltage is over there.
Oh, no, now
Is that a converter?
that's a converter.
Yes, this one is.
Yeah. So, yeah, what I was talking about is just the adapter plug. Because most of the...
This one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the electronic stuff that we'll have has a built-in converter.
and
Right.
You just need to check them out. But
Phone
for instance,
rechargers.
all of the phone rechargers will work on either. So,
Yeah. That was what I was concerned with. So I talked to the lady at the store. She said, yep, that's it.
okay.
Okay, good. That's helpful. So yeah, Dr. Bill, thank you. You mentioned Bibles. I would really recommend you bring a Bible if you have a memorable Bible. We'll be pulling our Bibles out to read on site, and it's just a really special thing. I would recommend that you don't bring your 4 translation, heavy, thick Bible.
5-pound Bible. Yeah.
So bring something that's that's mobile, or if you have your phone, you could certainly use that. And then we'll have a study guide, kind of a reflective journal that we're putting together that you'll have along, that will have some sites. Information about each site and a place for you to write down some reflections. But the more you can do to kind of capture your feelings, emotions, process things, that will kind of help with the saturation experience that you'll inevitably feel. I'd like to kind of ask a reflection question if I could, and it's kind of a 2-pronged question. So the question would be, just for each of us, one thing that you're excited about for our trip, and one challenge you anticipate. So I won't say one thing you're worried about, because we're not supposed to worry. What's a challenge that you're anticipating, and it's something that we can hold in prayer and maybe help alleviate or minimize it at the least. But so just one thing, hey, you're just so excited about when you think about Israel and this trip coming in May. You can't wait to fill in the blank. And then right after that excitement usually comes some sort of a challenge. So what is that challenge also that you're anticipating? And would you be willing to share that with us? So Dr. Bill, I don't know if you want to start and give our pilgrims a chance to process the on the spot question a little longer.
No, well, one of the challenges, especially since I go to see the dermatologist this week, is to make sure that I have lots of sunscreen along and a nice hat. But in all seriousness, it's continuing to prepare my heart for this whole experience again, and making sure I take some time, which I wasn't as good about at the beginning of the trip last time. Got better at the end, with just taking time to reflect what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will see a whole lot. And even if your reflection just focuses in on one of the events of the day, that can be really helpful.
Yeah, good. And we'll do what we can to create some space for that. We'll have some smaller group time for you to process, or maybe even as spouses. But I think that's good advice, Dr. Bill. Thank you. Others of you, who's willing to share something you're excited about and a challenge you're anticipating?
The challenge would be walking.
Yeah, it's called mobility.
Yeah.
That's Diana's challenge.
I'm with you, Diana.
So we're bringing a collapsible hiking stick for her.
Oh, okay.
Good idea. How about something you're excited about?
Robin, Marjorie, Diana, Jennifer.
Just solidifying some old memories of being there.
And I should add, if I know I'm talking too much, but I'm excited to go to Eilat. Never been to Eilat. Very excited to go to Timnah. Haven't been to Timnah before. And to see excavations there, which talk about the copper mines. I think I've got the right place.
Yep.
And then to see this, what can we say, the model. It's actually a life-size model of the tabernacle. And those are going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
What about you, Margie? What are you looking forward to?
I'm just excited about going.
Yeah, good. Jennifer, Thomas, how about you? Are you still there?
I'm excited. I'm excited to meet everybody and see everything.
It's good. That's good. What's the challenge you
Anyway,
anticipate?
I'm not really sure because I'm not sure exactly what to expect. So we're going to find out.
Oh, good. Okay. Thomas, you still there?
No,
Oh yeah, I'm just traveling, but I'm here.
What are you excited about?
I think I'm excited to see like walking in footsteps of people, especially Jesus, and being able just to experience that firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm gonna take a lot of pictures. I'm excited for that. And then the thing that maybe I'd be like, I do a lot of stuff at the church, so it's gonna probably take me more work to leave and go on this trip than it is to stay. So getting stuff ready and making sure I'm organized for everyone else that's back home, I think is going to be the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
that's an area of prayer. Thanks, Thomas. It's a good reminder.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just, we got about 10 minutes or so on my mark here. Questions you came with, anything specific, traveling related or preparation? Dr. Bill, I appreciate the work you've done just in the operational aspect and passports and all those things. But any questions that you have in travel preparations or some of the details that you have for us or for the group?
I know you guys had talked about money and not maybe needed to worry too much about it, but do we have to have some cash on us, or, I'm talking about not American money.
Would you talk about American?
Yeah, last time, and Ryan, you go ahead and share your experience. Last time, I don't ever remember changing money. I know I've been checking a number of guides. They're saying it's good to change money. If you do so, do it at the airport. Or if you do it in a town, do it at the post office rather than a local money changer. But I carry a lot of fresh $1 bills and say fresh $5 bills. But otherwise, they take your credit card, debit card. I don't know, Ryan?
So check and see if your credit cards charge a fee for.
We take a credit card that has no exchange fee. That's where you can get really caught if your credit card has an exchange fee.
Right. Yeah, that's good advice if you're going to use plastic of some kind. The tips for the trip are covered. Your expenses for staying and for food, for breakfast and dinner are covered. I would say most days, if not every day, we'll make a stop for lunch, and that will usually be around $10. And usually the easiest thing is just to pay $10 American cash. I mean, you can do cards, but it gets more complicated. And some people do that. Some people just pack extra food from breakfast and eat a big breakfast and a big dinner. So you kind of know your own dietary rhythm. But that's usually just $10 American cash. Souvenirs would be the other place where you would want cash, and that works. Most of the time, sometimes the stores will have the costs, the beginning price, but usually it's a bartering system in most of the markets and stores. So
And they like to barter.
Yes,
they love it. They love it, and us, yeah. So as far as prices being listed on things, that happens sometimes. And so you might have to do a little bit of math or exchange math, but it'd be pretty minimal. So yeah.
And they posted exchange rates too. So we carry, because we're only 2 meal a day people, we carry a lot of health bars or snack bars. Don't take up a lot of room. So
the other thing that's nice with the $1 bills is our most likely our bus will carry cold water in water bottles, and that's $1. So you just, when you get on the bus, you hand the driver $1, and he'll hand you a bottle of water. So that'll be nice, especially in May. The the weather won't be super hot, except for probably when we're in the Dead Sea region in the desert. So maybe the first 3 or 4 days it'll be rather warm, and you'll want to stay hydrated. So just having cash on hand, I think, would be good advice. And
Is there water fountains around that we could fill up our own water jugs?
The water that will be at the hostels and in the hotels are safe to drink. They will usually label things, but you don't. Hopefully, you're all taking.
No guarantees.
You want to take the over-the-counter. What's that called?
Like Imodium. Imodium.
Yeah, Imodium. You should make sure you have Imodium with you. And then if you have a travel clinic, like we've just been in contact again with Kaiser, they're not posting any health warnings right now. But they did encourage, so I've got to get my typhoid booster. So if your tetanus isn't up to date, or if you need typhoid, you want to go ahead and get those, and you need to get them 2 weeks before the trip. But no need for malaria. They're recommending that you have some kind of.
There wouldn't be very many places we'd be exposed to mosquitoes, but maybe down in the lot. So you might want to bring mosquito repellent because mosquitoes carry other things.
Yeah. But they're prescribing an antibiotic in case, you get Israeli revenge or Palestinian revenge and if the Imodium doesn't stop it, then you need the antibiotic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not very expensive.
Yeah.
But you need a prescription.
Yeah, you'll need a prescription in our country.
Since we're on the topic, the food, there's options that you're used to for breakfast and dinner, but then there's also Middle Eastern food as well. It's really hard to go hungry. You have to be a pretty picky eater. So there's lots of good food, and it's buffet style. So you can kind of pick what you'd like and put your own plate together, which is nice for breakfast and dinner.
Lots of salad kinds of options.
Yeah. Lunches are usually either shawarma, which is like pita bread with chicken and veggies and stuff in it, or falafel, which is kind of a vegetable meatball. I don't know, how do you describe falafel? I don't know, but and then Dr. Bill mentioned when we're in the Galilee, we'll get to have St. Peter's fish, which is really tilapia, but it's fish they catch from the Sea of Galilee. It's still the number one commercial fishing in Israel. It's their main source of fresh water. And I think they have a deal, and they share that fresh water and the produce with Jordan. But we'll get to have a fish, and you can even eat the eyeballs if you want. Someone tricked me the first time I went, and they told me the waiter told me the eyeball was a delicacy, and so I ate it, and he was lying, and it's not a delicacy, or was it delicate? So,
But a little warning there, though, because they kind of make you think that the salad buffet is included in the price of the meal, and it was not.
Oh, I don't know if we'll be. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll be at that same restaurant or not.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll take. I think,
and we will try to clarify that. That got confusing our last time because we weren't the only group on the bus. So
right. So that's just at the St. Peter's dinner right now. That's included in the cost of your trip, and so you don't have to worry about that. So that'd be fun.
Good sized fish.
Yeah. So lots of opportunities if you're an adventurous eater to try new things, but if you like more stability, those options are available as well. So, and yeah, water, I think water in the hotels and the hostels would be fine. I wouldn't recommend drinking water anywhere else unless it's bottled. So, but usually most places you'll go, bottled water will be available for about $1. So, Any other questions?
You answered mine.
Ryan had mentioned before as far as clothing is concerned, and I was just reading this again, and I'll try to remember to send it to you all too. The Israel tends to be casual. Ryan's already mentioned it's going to be hot down in the when we get into the Negev area, probably down to a lot as well. But if we go into shrine areas, it's really important for the ladies to have something to cover their heads with, and going in shorts for either men or women is not a good thing. So if you have zip off pants, and then you can just zip them back on for going in.
There you go. Well, the sites that we'll see in the Negev and in the Dead Sea region, though none of those are churches, none of those are places where conservative clothing would be needed. But in Jerusalem and in the Galilee, that type of attire. But it will be cooler, relatively, comparatively. It will be cooler in Jerusalem and in the Galilee. So.
And Ryan, I think you mentioned last time too, or maybe it was Diana, ladies, you need to make sure your shoulders are covered. Mm-hmm. So or that you have at least short sleeves on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the religious shrines.
Yeah. So if you have like a shawl or something like that, you could just put it over your head and your shoulders, and it would be
you'd be fine.
Yep. So yeah, good. Other questions?
No.
Okay. Well, we were shooting for the first Sunday and first Monday of each month. February 4th is a Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. So we'll kind of figure out how to work the schedule there a little bit.
Not a big deal.
For some folks it's not a big deal. So
I know.
And we'd still have the Monday option for folks that want to watch the game on Sunday. So we'll probably keep that rhythm intact, and we will let you know. We need to talk to the dean about what that schedule is for the evenings at PESM during the March classes. But we may try, before the trip, to pull off a face-to-face for those that are in the Portland area. But we have folks that obviously won't be able to. Not everybody will be able to be there. So, so that's kind of it. Unless anybody has any final words, just a little bit to chew on there, some stuff to research, stuff to think about in your planning, and as a community, we can be praying for the preparation and for the challenges that are presented to us, and thankful that God has already gone ahead of us and will go behind us and will be with us.
Amen. Shalom.
So shalom to each of you. Have a great Sunday afternoon and evening, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Shalom.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.